Ryan Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on the Morning Majority. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, Mary Catherine Ham here, all in the house, back from Florida.
Yeah.
We get to talk to Sharron Angle this morning. Remember her? Former Senate candidate, former member of the Nevada Assembly. How's it going?
Just fine, Mary Catherine. Thank you for having me on your show. Good morning,
problem.
Brian.
Morning.
So you endorsed Rick Santorum in Nevada. You know Nevada pretty well, what it takes to earn votes there. In a caucus system, it does favor folks like Ron Paul, who have a very excited following, and obviously Romney has an organization on the ground. What can Santorum hope to do there?
Well, I think that every candidate is viable here. In Nevada, we are a very independent lot of voters. We lean kind of libertarian, which means no one can tell us how to vote. And so my endorsement is merely a suggestion. It's not going to be the deciding factor, of course, in this caucus. But we're looking forward to a very spirited caucus on Saturday, and I think that people might be surprised at the outcome. You can't make assumptions that anyone really has the leading edge here.
Are you sort of surprised that Santorum has not done better? Because, I mean, many people who know Rick Santorum well and know his record well would say, hey, he's the most conservative guy up there.
Well, I think that that's true. That's why I gave him my endorsement. I think that he fits more closely with my principles as far as being a social conservative as well as a fiscal conservative. And for those of us who are libertarian-minded, we always think about our pocketbooks when we think about those social issues. So we want someone as our president who understands both sides of that coin of conservatism. And when we talk about Rick Santorum and how he's done, you know, when I ran, I was running in third place, and we watched this happen in Nevada, where, you know, people look at those bright, shiny stars that are recommended to them for likability and for electability, but when we begin to really get to the vote, we begin to consider the record and not just what they say, but what they have actually done. And I think that's what we're now seeing happening in every state. I think that's why Iowa was the first to recognize that Rick Santorum is a viable candidate.
But why do you think he hasn't caught on? I mean, nationally, if you look at the polls, you know, he is definitely still in third place and not, you know, behind Romney and Newt Gingrich and, you know, close to where Ron Paul is. Why hasn't he caught on with conservatives or with Republicans came in third place, well behind in Florida? Why hasn't he caught fire?
There are many things, you know, that happen within campaigns. Of course, the biggest one is money and those who are working for you. And we've seen a lot of money being put into these races from super PACs that are working for the other two candidates. So I think that in a lot of this, we're watching Rick just go forward as he does, that steady person who says, I will not go into debt for this campaign. He's spending his money wisely, as conservatives should. And I think that as we see these big advertisements come out, and people are starting to get their fill of what big money can do, and they're now looking for someone steady, stable, a true conservative.
All right, but you're not against spending money in campaigns, are you?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm just saying that money does talk, and it does sometimes overshadow some of the issues and some of the importance that we place on records and things like that when we're watching commercials rather than doing our own investigation.
Hey, we understand that Donald's going to be in Nevada today to make some kind of endorsement announcement. Ostensibly, the rumor is it's going to be an endorsement of Newt Gingrich. Does that matter?
Oh, I think all endorsements matter, but they're really just opinions. And when you come right down to it in a state like Nevada where we're pretty independent voters, an opinion's just another opinion. And I think that you'll see on Saturday that the voters will take these things into consideration, but in the long run, what they will do is choose the person that most aligns with their principles.
In Iowa, Santorum was able to round up a bunch of rural area votes to counteract the sort of urban center votes that Romney got. In Nevada, you have a similar setup with a huge urban population in Vegas, in the Vegas area, a couple of those, and a lot of rural area. Can he do a similar strategy, or is there just not enough time for him to be on the ground? That's what I mean, he spent a lot of time in Iowa.
Well, that's true, and Iowa's a small state compared to the geographic
right.
Largeness of Nevada. We do have 70% of our population lives in the Las Vegas area, so I know that that's why most of the candidates are going to Las Vegas, because they feel like that's where the votes are. We've found, though, that it's pretty much a 50-50 proposition in Las Vegas, that voters tend to vote about 50% Republican and 50% Democrat, that the place where you can really change the vote in Nevada is in our northern and rural counties. And so any candidate would do well to look to that large voting bloc, and those are the people that really examine, they're educated and informed voters, and they go to the polls.
We're talking with Sharron Angle, former Senate candidate from Nevada, where there's a big caucus coming up this weekend. I have to ask you, Mitt Romney said yesterday on CNN that he wasn't very concerned with the very poor people in this country, also wasn't concerned with the very rich people in this country, was more concerned with the middle class. What did you think of those comments? He's been criticized heavily, especially from those on the right, even some on the right, heavily criticized from those on the left, and even some on the right. What did you make of those comments?
Well, having been heavily criticized for comments that were taken out of context during my campaign against Harry Reid, I have to sympathize with anyone when they're trying to make a point and the press grabs on just a few words and then makes that the central issue. I think that we have to look at anyone's comments in their context and really understand what he was trying to say. And I think we do understand that what he's trying to say is that we're concerned here in America about our jobs, our homes, and the price of the gas that's going in our cars. And I think that every candidate on our side understands that those are the main issues, that we have got to look to this economy and we've got to get it moving again. Otherwise, we're not going to survive in the same way that we have in the past. We need to get back to the things that made our country prosperous, and there are many issues on the table right now that we could be dealing with, but we aren't, because President Obama would rather campaign than deal with what's really important to our country.
Final question. It really irritates you people in Nevada when we say Nevada wrong. Yeah, Nevada.
Sorry.
Well, I know that it's probably proper to say Nevada, but we Nevadans understand that it's Nevada. It's always been Nevada. And yes, if you want to get us irritated, just say Nevada. We'll shout right back. You'll hear
Nevada. All right. Thank you, Sharron.
Thank you very much. We appreciate